Imagine waking up one morning to a world completely changed. No electricity, no running water, no communication, just silence and chaos. It sounds like the plot of a dystopian novel, but the reality is, we're closer to that scenario than many of us realize. Global tensions are rising fast, and the stability we've all taken for granted is on shaky ground. You might be thinking, this could never happen here, but history has shown that in times of crisis, things can unravel quickly. The question isn't if it could happen, it's whether or not you're ready when it does. In today's volatile world, being unprepared is no longer an option. This video isn't about fear. It's about taking control of your future. Right now, global events are escalating, and the conflict between NATO and Russia is inching us toward a dangerous tipping point. The U.S. has made moves that push us deeper into this escalating conflict, allowing Ukraine to strike further into Russian territory with American long-range missiles. These developments aren't just headlines, they're flashing warnings that could have devastating consequences here at home. I'm here to show you 10 essential preparations you need to make. Not tomorrow, not next week, but today, to protect yourself and your loved ones. This isn't a drill, and there won't be time to wait and hope for the best. Number 10. Backup power, when the grid fails. In the event of a catastrophic attack, the power grid will fail. It's not a question of if, but when. When that moment comes, you can no longer count on electricity for basic necessities like lights, refrigeration, charging devices, heating, or air conditioning. A backup power source can make the difference between enduring the crisis or being left helpless in the dark. The most accessible option for backup power is a portable generator. Gas-powered generators are effective for short-term use, capable of running essential appliances such as refrigerators, medical devices, or even space heaters. However, there is a major drawback: fuel shortages. Stockpiling gasoline is crucial, but even with fuel stabilizers, gasoline will eventually run out. As a bare minimum, stockpile at least 5 to 10 gallons of gasoline, but remember, this won't last forever. For long-term solutions, consider solar-powered generators. Unlike gas-powered options, solar generators offer a renewable energy source. The sun becomes your most reliable resource, enabling you to store power in battery banks that can run essential electronics, lighting, and communication devices without relying on fuel. Recent advances in technology now allow some solar generators to power larger appliances like refrigerators and medical devices. When choosing a solar generator, ensure it comes with portable, easy-to-set-up panels with high conversion efficiency. This way, you can collect sunlight even in less than ideal conditions. The beauty of solar power is that once you've invested in the equipment, you have a silent and endless power supply. Unlike gas generators, solar generators do not attract attention with noise, nor do they rely on external fuel sources. For smaller power needs, such as charging cell phones, radios, or flashlights, portable solar chargers are a great option. They are lightweight, affordable, and lifesavers in situations where traditional power sources are unavailable. Number 9. Hygiene essentials. Maintaining sanitation. In a major disaster or attack, sanitation systems are often one of the first things to collapse. Trash piles up, toilets stop working, and diseases begin to spread rapidly. If you're not prepared to handle hygiene and sanitation issues, your family's health could deteriorate quickly. Maintaining hygiene may seem like a lower priority in a crisis, but it is crucial to avoid illness. Start with the basics: soap and disinfectants. Stock up on antibacterial soap, hand sanitizers, and disinfecting wipes. These items will be your first line of defense against bacteria and viruses that will thrive in unsanitary conditions. When people live in close quarters with limited access to running water, germs spread quickly. Speaking of water, staying clean without access to running water is essential. Stockpile personal hygiene wipes and waterless soaps, which don't require water, but still keep you clean and prevent infections. For larger cleaning needs, consider camp showers that can be filled with any clean water source, allowing you to maintain a basic level of cleanliness. Toilets are another major concern in a long-term grid-down scenario. If plumbing fails, you'll need a backup plan. Portable camping toilets are a good option, but at the very least, have a supply of 5-gallon buckets, heavy-duty trash bags, and cat litter. Cat litter helps absorb odors and manage waste in a pinch. For women, stockpiling feminine hygiene products such as pads, tampons, or menstrual cups in large quantities is critical. These items will be in high demand, and you don't want to run out when supplies are scarce. Other essential hygiene items to stockpile include toothpaste, toothbrushes, deodorant, and razors. Neglecting personal hygiene can lead to infections, gum disease, and skin problems, which can further complicate survival efforts. Number 8. Tools and repairs, maintaining your shelter. In a crisis, you may not be able to rely on professionals to fix things. Your home, vehicle, and gear will experience wear and tear, but with no contractors or mechanics available, you must be prepared to handle repairs yourself. That's why tools and repair supplies are critical for survival. Start by assembling a fully stocked toolbox with essential items like hammers, screwdrivers, wrenches, and pliers. These tools are vital for basic repairs, whether you're boarding up windows, fixing a leaky roof, or maintaining essential equipment. But don't stop at tools. Stockpile materials like nails, screws, duct tape, zip ties, and superglue for quick fixes on the fly. If your shelter is compromised, you'll need more than just a toolbox. Storm damage, break-ins, or structural problems require materials like plywood, tarps, and plastic sheeting. These items are lightweight yet versatile and can be used to cover broken windows, create temporary walls, or protect your home from water damage. For those relying on firewood for heating or cooking, a hatchet or axe is a must-have. The ability to gather and split wood could be crucial, especially if fuel supplies run out. A handsaw or chainsaw will help you process larger amounts of wood more efficiently. Number 7. Barter items, the new currency of a collapsed economy. In a long-term disaster, traditional currency may lose its value. Credit cards will become useless, and cash could become worthless. In such a scenario, bartering will become the primary means of trade, and the items you stockpile now could become the currency of tomorrow. High-demand barter items like alcohol and tobacco will hold significant value in a collapsed economy. Liquor, for example, has multiple uses beyond consumption. It can serve as an antiseptic and be used for medicinal purposes. Stockpile hard liquor such as vodka and whiskey, as well as sealed packs of cigarettes or cigars. Even if you don't use these items yourself, they'll be highly valuable for trading. Batteries will also be in high demand once the grid goes down. Stockpile AA, AAA, D, and 9V batteries, along with rechargeable options. These will be crucial for powering flashlights, radios, and other essential devices. Medications will be worth their weight in gold when pharmacies are no longer operational. Pain relievers, antibiotics, antihistamines, and antidiarrheal medications will be in high demand, and having a supply could give you a significant advantage in bartering. Hygiene products such as soap, toilet paper, and feminine hygiene items will be essential for maintaining health and dignity in a crisis, making them highly valuable for trade. Additionally, luxury items like chocolate, coffee, spices, and comfort foods will still be desired, and people will trade valuable items to feel a sense of normalcy. Number 6. Fuel, your energy lifeline. When the power goes out, fuel becomes an essential lifeline, not only for keeping the lights on, but also for cooking, heating, and staying mobile. Once disaster strikes, fuel is often the first resource to disappear, with gas stations emptying within hours. When that happens, and the pumps run dry, you'll be stuck unless you have adequately prepared. Start by stockpiling gasoline, but keep in mind that fuel degrades over time. Proper storage is critical. Store gasoline in approved containers, and treat it with fuel stabilizers like STOCKPILE, which can extend its shelf life up to a year when stored in a cool, dry place. Make sure you have enough fuel to power your generators and keep your vehicle ready for a quick evacuation if needed. Propane is another essential fuel to consider. Unlike gasoline, propane has a longer shelf life, making it ideal for cooking and heating. 20-pound propane tanks can power stoves, grills, heaters, and some generators. If you don't already have a propane-powered grill or camping stove, now is the time to invest. They are reliable, efficient, and provide a cooking solution that doesn't depend on the electric grid. Additionally, consider alternative power sources like solar generators. Solar power is renewable, making it an excellent backup plan. While gasoline and propane will eventually run out, solar energy provides a more sustainable option for powering small appliances, recharging batteries, and keeping essential electronics like radios or medical devices operational. Paired with a battery bank, solar panels can supply power for several days, especially for critical items like communication devices and emergency lighting. If you live in a colder climate, heating fuel becomes a life or death necessity during a winter blackout. Without power, temperatures can drop to deadly levels, particularly for children and the elderly. Stockpile firewood if you have a wood-burning stove or fireplace and have kerosene or propane heaters as a backup. When traditional heating sources fail, these alternatives can save lives. After a disaster or a grid-down event, fuel shortages will spread across the country. Those who aren't prepared with alternative sources of energy will be left cold and in the dark. Don't let that happen to your family. Plan ahead and stockpile wisely. Number 5. Weapons and ammunition. Protect what's yours. In a catastrophic event or nationwide crisis, security becomes your number one concern. When resources are scarce, desperation takes over, and people may do anything to survive. If you're not ready to defend your home, family, and supplies, you're leaving yourself vulnerable. The harsh reality is that law enforcement will likely be overwhelmed or unavailable in such situations. You must take on the role of protector for your household. First, arm yourself with the right tools. A firearm isn't a luxury in a crisis, it's a necessity. Choose something reliable, easy to maintain, and with ample ammunition supply. For home defense, a 12-gauge shotgun is a solid option. It's simple to use and highly effective at close range. For broader protection, such as when defending your property or moving through uncertain areas, a handgun like a 9mm or a rifle like an AR-15 provides more versatility. However, simply owning a weapon isn't enough. You need proper training. A gun in unskilled hands is dangerous to everyone, including yourself. If you don't already know how to handle a firearm safely and effectively, get trained now. Time is short, and you won't have the luxury to learn in a crisis. Next, stockpile plenty of ammunition. When supply lines break down, ammunition will be hard to come by. Aim to have at least 1,000 rounds per caliber for each firearm you own. While that may seem like a lot, ammunition doesn't spoil and will be a critical resource for protection and bartering. In a survival scenario, bullets can be as valuable as currency. Consider how you store your ammunition as well. It should be kept in airtight, moisture-proof containers with silica gel packs to keep it dry and in good condition for the long term. In addition to firearms, non-lethal weapons like pepper spray, tasers, or batons can offer protection when lethal force isn't necessary, but the threat is still real. Being prepared for different levels of threats is crucial, as lines between friend and foe can blur quickly in a chaotic situation. Number 4. Communication gear. Stay connected. When systems fail. In a disaster, you can't rely on your cell phone or the internet to stay connected with loved ones or to access critical information. Communication breakdowns are often one of the first things to happen, and when the power grid goes down or infrastructure is damaged, you'll be on your own. Staying informed and connected is vital to survival, which is why you need reliable communication gear that works off the grid. First, get two-way radios. Basic walkie-talkies are essential for short-range communication with family members or neighbors, typically within a range of 1 to 5 miles. This is crucial if you are sheltering in place or coordinating movements. Look for models with multiple channels, long battery life, and the ability to recharge via solar or hand crank chargers. Always have extra batteries on hand, as grid power may be unavailable for extended periods. For long-range communication, invest in a ham radio or CB radio. These devices allow communication across miles, and in some cases, even hundreds of miles. Ham radios require a license to operate, but in a survival situation, being able to gather information or call for help becomes more important than adhering to regulations. Look for handheld models with wide frequency ranges and learn how to operate them now. You don't want to be figuring it out in the middle of an emergency. A solar-powered or hand-crank emergency radio is another essential piece of gear. These radios are designed to pick up no AA weather alerts, emergency broadcasts, and news updates even when power and cell towers are down. In a crisis, receiving official updates on weather conditions, evacuation orders, or new threats can mean the difference between life and death. Number 3. Water. Your most critical resource. In any catastrophic event, be it war, an EMP, electromagnetic pulse, or a large-scale disruption like a supply chain collapse, water immediately becomes your most critical survival need. The human body can only survive about 3 days without water under normal conditions. However, in more extreme situations such as excessive heat, physical exertion, or illness, this survival window decreases significantly. You need to consider that your local water supply could be compromised quickly in the event of a disaster. Cyber attacks, contamination, or infrastructure damage can render municipal water unsafe within hours. To ensure basic survival, each person in your household needs at least 1 gallon of water per day. This covers drinking, minimal hygiene, and cooking. For a family of 4, you would need a minimum of 120 gallons of water stored for 3 months, just for drinking purposes. If anyone falls ill, or if you want to maintain proper sanitation, you will need even more water. Storing water isn't enough. You must have several methods available to purify it in case your stored supply becomes contaminated. Water purification tablets, filtration systems like a Berkey, and backup boiling methods are essential. Contaminated water can be lethal, introducing bacteria, viruses, or chemicals that can make your stored water supplies dangerous in an instant. A helpful tip is to rotate your stored water every 6 months to a year. If possible, also invest in a rain catchment system. Even in urban areas, rainwater collection can provide a renewable source of life-saving water, which can be filtered and made drinkable when the taps run dry. 2. Canned food and dry goods, your caloric lifeline. When a disaster strikes, grocery store shelves could be emptied within hours. We've seen this happen in localized crises such as hurricanes, but a nationwide disaster would bring a much longer and more severe disruption. Fresh produce and even frozen foods won't be available when the power grid goes down. Long-term, non-perishable food supplies will become critical for sustaining you and your family. Canned foods should be your first line of defense, as they are pre-cooked, sealed, and have a long shelf life. You should stockpile a wide variety of canned proteins such as beans, chicken, tuna, beef, and fish. These protein sources are essential for maintaining muscle mass, energy, and immune function, which become critical in high-stress survival conditions. In addition to protein, you should stock canned vegetables, fruits, and soups to ensure you're getting essential vitamins and minerals. Opt for low-sodium options where possible to avoid dehydration, especially when water is scarce. Dry goods are equally important. Items such as rice, oats, flour, and beans are calorie-dense, inexpensive, and can last for years when stored properly. Rice and beans alone can provide both carbohydrates and proteins, making them a staple for survival. Store these in airtight containers with oxygen absorbers to maximize their shelf life. A 5-gallon bucket of rice, if stored correctly, can last up to 30 years. Number 1. first aid supplies, your life-saving arsenal. In the wake of a catastrophic event, professional medical help might be impossible to access. Hospitals could be overwhelmed, shut down, or simply unreachable due to destroyed infrastructure. You will likely be the first responder, and often the only one available, when someone in your household is injured, sick, or worse. This makes having a comprehensive first aid kit absolutely essential. Start with the basics like bandages, antiseptics, and pain relievers, which are necessary for treating cuts, burns, and other minor injuries. But in a major crisis, you'll need more than just a box of Band-Aids. Trauma situations such as deep wounds, broken bones, or severe bleeding require more advanced tools and supplies. A good first aid kit for survival situations should include tourniquets to stop severe blood loss, which can be fatal within minutes. Hemostatic dressings like QuickClot can help control heavy bleeding, while splints and wraps can stabilize fractures and sprains. Sterile gloves and wound irrigation tools are also crucial to prevent infections, which can be more deadly than the injury itself when medical help is unavailable. In addition to treating physical injuries, you must also prepare for medical conditions that require prescription medications. If anyone in your household relies on medications for conditions like heart disease, diabetes, or asthma, you need to stockpile at least a 3-month supply. Don't wait until disaster strikes to talk to your doctor about securing extra prescriptions. Antibiotics are another critical resource. Infections can become life-threatening without proper treatment, and access to antibiotics may become severely limited in a grid-down scenario. You can legally purchase fish antibiotics, which are often the same as those prescribed for humans, as a last resort measure. Along with first aid supplies, sanitation will be key in maintaining your household's health. Stock up on disinfectants, hand sanitizers, and personal protective equipment like masks and gloves. In the aftermath of a disaster, disease outbreaks often occur, especially when hygiene breaks down. Even a minor cut can lead to a deadly infection if proper sanitation isn't maintained. That is all for today, guys. Please make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content.